Welcome into Command Center. The players have left for a break before they return next month for the beginning of training camp. And head coach Rivera shares his biggest takeaway from the team following last week's minicamp. Rookie Jahan Dotson continues to impress on the field. Has he played his way into the starting punt return job? And speaking of Dotson, the first ever Commanders draft pick opens up about his journey to the league and a letter to the fans. Plus, we continued to get to know our 2022 rookie class as fourth-round pick Percy Butler sits down with former Washington and Louisiana native Brian Mitchell. And welcome on into Command Center. Julie Donaldson, Logan Paulsen, Santana Moss. Both of you gentlemen have retired, and guess what? Rob Gronkowski retiring again. Yeah. We'll see if this one sticks. But where would you rank him amongst the best tight ends ever, Santana?
I mean, he's up there. Apples and oranges. I'm one of those guys, man. I mean, if he has the most yards, then everyone's going to say he's the best. It's a lot of guys that did what he has done throughout his career that I can say that probably arguably could be ranked number one. So I can't say he's number one, but he's a pretty productive tight end for a long time, and so you have to put him up there.
Yeah, I just look at those top guys, Gonzalez, Witten, Gates, and they did it for such a long time. And Gronkowski came out and had this meteoric couple seasons, 5 or 6 years. So I don't think he sustained it, but he was so productive and so dominant during that time period. I mean, that time frame stacks up against anybody.
And then you got to think about it, and I don't mean, to butt in, but he retired and came back and still was dominant, so that speaks for itself.
And we'll see if this one sticks. Maybe look, like the same as Tom Brady, he retired, came back. So we will see. But for now, Rob is retiring. We wish him the best as he sails off into Gronkowski land. The team is no longer here at camp because, well, they are gone until training camp officially starts, with minicamp just wrapping up a few days ago or last week. They'll be back the end of July, but minicamp provided new quarterback Carson Wentz to work with his new teammates, as well as a chance for the 2022 rookie class to get their first taste of NFL action. Here is head coach Rivera on his biggest takeaway from the team following minicamp.
What I really appreciate is the confidence in which a lot of these younger guys have seemed to grasp onto the things that we do. You see that they've matured in terms of their understanding, their feel for who we can be. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I like that. I really do like their confidence. You watch Jamin move around and you feel good about who Jamin is right now. I mean, he's had a good spring. That's an awesome thing. It really is. As I mentioned, young guys like Jeremy and Defoe. I mean, these are young safeties that, given opportunities, can step up. Again, Benjamin, watching him move around, that's been outstanding. We got a couple of young defensive linemen that really have taken, nice steps and strides. Shaka and BK are a couple of them. So you feel good about that. You look at the offensive side and you see that young group of wide receivers. Look at the young tight ends right now getting a lot of reps because, Logan's still on the mend. We were talking about John Bates the other day, and just watching him in which, the nice thing is the way he was coached by Pete and then Juan coming in, you just continue to see the growth. And so you feel comfortable and confident because they look comfortable, they look confident. And so that's kind of what I'm coming off of as far as this is concerned.
So let's get into a little bit of coach speak, what Coach Rivera was just saying there. And last year, all we really kind of heard a lot from him often was that he was questioning the maturity of the team because he did want a lot of youth on this team. He really kind of flipped it over a lot within the first 2 years. Now it sounds like he has a little bit more faith in the younger guys right now.
Well, the NFL is not a developmental league. Oftentimes you go out and you bring new people in, and it's a very rare case where you can get guys and have them kind of follow a linear projection in terms of their development. So when he's talking about these guys that practice and how they're doing through OTA periods, this is a nice data point for him, I'm sure, to say, we've got some depth now. Some of these guys are going to be role players here. They're going to be able to play at a high level for us. Maybe even not start, but contribute on teams. Like he mentioned, the 2 young safeties. That's excellent for special teams depth and also rotational depth. Because what if Cam Crow gets hurt? Everyone's talking about the depth in the secondary. That's excellent to hear that from him, and it's nice to see that again, it's following a linear progression. You mentioned the maturity. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think what stood out to me is just some of the key things he spoke on is youth and maturity, and that's some of the things that he harped on last year. And having a young team, you want to see those guys rise every year. You want to see them get better. So going forward, it gives him, a positive outlook on what he can expect from these guys come training camp, come regular season, because all the guys that he's going to count on should be ready from what they saw in minicamp and OTAs.
One of the reasons he said he wanted a lot of younger guys as well as what he had in Carolina is that's how you build sustainability year after year after year, is on the legs of the youth as they do grow in maturity to be able to hopefully kind of get back into the postseason time and time again. Nice to hear him not questioning as much maturity as last year, though. But if we're going to go on in our coach speak, let's move over to the tight ends. Speaking of youth on the roster, the tight end position group features a lot of new faces behind veteran Logan Thomas. Tight end coach Juan Castillo asked about the most difficult aspect of the position to learn at the NFL level.
I think more than anything, the detail of the route running. How important it is in this offense. It's a timing offense, so I think that's probably the thing that's the hardest. Even though you say, well, run block, that's they're athletics. They'll learn how to run block and pass protect, but just the route running is really the hardest.
Learning route running, is that the most difficult for a tight end?
Again, that's not something you normally hear. I think a lot of people, especially coming from college, are saying, oh, the run blocking is the hardest. But as you know, offenses in the NFL are very, very timing oriented, and you got to know your spots, right? And in these college offenses, they're very hurry up, kind of simple concepts. So understanding that when I get to 5 yards, I'm actually opening up the dig behind me, or I got to run a clear route for the dig coming in. And that stuff's really important to learn. Can be challenging. And
I'm sure he's probably learning it, as well. What I mean? So no, but it stood out because I remember being a part of offenses that you hear that the tight end basically set the triangle for the receiver. So these young guys need to know that, hey, you might be trying to get open, but also know it's other guys that have to get to their spot, and you're an integral part of those guys. That quarterback's progression.
Does it tend to matter, where maybe the player's coming from? Is it a younger tight end? Is it a tight end based on how maybe they were used in college, where kind of running those routes becomes a challenge?
I think 1,000%. I think it's just really indicative of the college game at the moment. It's so different, right? Yeah. You watch these college tight ends, and Cole Turner, just as an example, ran 4 routes, and so it's really hard to project that. So he's got to learn how to run NFL routes, not only the depths and the different speeds and all the things, but how he fits in the concept. He's not running NFL concepts, so I think it'd be really challenging.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not that challenging. Logan's the tight end expert, so
it shouldn't be hard. They're all smart guys.
We do have playbook and know where to be.
I feel like every tight end on this roster was converted from some other position.
That's
we got
true.
quite a few coming from receiver to tight end as well. Now let's go to special teams coordinator Nate Catzer. He was asked about who's going to be returning punts, and could it be Jahan Dotson?
When you have a really high-profile player, a lot of people ask, will you put him out there? Well, we'll see. And he's going to be within the discussion and part of the competition. But he's very capable and had really good success at Penn State. And he's showing us nothing different than what we thought we were getting. And I expect that to improve. And then we'll see how everything shakes out and who's available. And not till the opening day will we know exactly who's going to do it.
Right.
So he's definitely in the discussion, and you always like it when a talented player bears out what you thought they were when you had high hopes, because sometimes you might take a player and hope for development, but Jahan's a pretty developed high-end player at a lot of different things. Everyone has seen it to watch practice, and he's not disappointed at all, even in the punt return aspect.
If we're to dive into coach speak on that one, is he basically saying Dotson may be too valuable on offense, Santana?
He ain't sure. Whatever you want to take from there, he's not sure that he's going to risk that highly developed guy. But it's great to hear him say speak those words, saying that this guy came in being everything that they thought he was in the draft. And when you have a talent like Jahan, you don't want to risk that. That risk and reward is probably a lot. Leaning to one side more than the other. So he spoke well about where they see him. And I think, when you have a talent like that, you're going to quickly say, man, this guy's going to be out there, but they're not sure. They don't know if they want to use that guy.
I also think, when you think about a guy like Ted Ginn Jr., for example, he was coming in to be a returner. And you spoke about that off the air a little bit. Obviously, Jahan, in terms of the offense, seems to be he's meeting expectations. He's where we thought he'd be from an offensive standpoint. So that means he's going to be involved in the offense. And usually when guys are involved in the offense, you're not playing special teams. And I know there are exceptions to that rule, but usually they're playing on offense because that's more important.
I know you even said, though, Santana, sometimes you didn't mind doing that just because you wanted to be in the game, you wanted the touches, you wanted to be able to make plays to stay in rhythm. And Nate Catzer, we've heard him many times before say, hey, he thinks he has a guy that's going to be a star at special teams, and then they're developed to the point that he loses them to more offense or defense. And he's like, that is kind of what you hope in the long run. But we'll see. I mean, if it's not Dotson, do we have a name of somebody who would potentially?
I think that's their problem to find out.
That's what training camp is for, is we shall soon see. Of course, Dotson did it pretty well at Penn State. We know he's capable of that. Okay, so by the way, all 8 of Washington's rookies have officially signed their contracts. So great to have that behind us and moving on. Now the dates have been set for this year's training camp, with practices kicking off on July 27th through August 18th. Fans can sign up for the chance to attend practices through a fan lottery system. And on Saturday, August 6th, fans can view practice for free under the lights at FedEx Field. Head on over to commanders.com/training camp for more information. Now, coming up, we continue to get to know the 2022 rookie class, and who better to help get us to know the 4th-round pick, Percy Butler, than fellow Ragin' Cajun and Washington legend Brian Mitchell. And we have some sad news to report here. As former Washington safety Brig Owens, he's passed away at the age of 79. Owens, a native of Linden, Texas, played 12 seasons with Washington from 1966 to 1977. His 36 career interceptions are the 2nd most in franchise history. Our thoughts are with the Owens family.
I remember this is the first time I ever returned a kick, and I was nervous as hell before this game. Carlin and went, and then, now this is the beginning of the 91 season. We had a middle return. This guy thought he was gonna just tackle me without wrapping his arms. I ran through that. Went to the end zone, 69-yard touchdown. It was a combination of things. Like the first one was a kick return. And I had never returned kicks in my life. And I was so nervous. It's the first preseason game, and we get the ball, and I got through the hole, because Wayne always said get through it before it's shut. And I was relatively comfortable with returning the kicks. And then midway, or a little bit later on that year, the body bag game, both of the returners got hurt. So now I'm the punt returner. Those 2 returns, in essence, gave me the confidence to go out there and do what I did for 14 years. And I really, really appreciate Wayne Sevier and Coach Gibbs for giving me that opportunity to go out there and have an opportunity and show what I can do.
Former Washington return specialist Brian Mitchell taking us through some of his more memorable kick returns while playing for the Burgundy and Gold. Now, Brian is one of 3 players from Louisiana Lafayette to be drafted by Washington. So we decided to pair him with, well, Percy Butler. He was drafted in the 4th round from the same school and the same hometown.
Brian Mitchell here with Percy Butler, 4th-round draft pick from UL Ragin' Cajuns and also Plaquemine High School Green Devils. When you think of Washington football, what comes to mind?
Sean Taylor. And I also think about you, for sure. Just because to know that you come from the same city and same college as me, and you play here.
Sean Taylor is a great one to follow, because I think a lot of people around here, you're going to find out this dude is absolutely loved. He's like a god in this town. When you got that phone call from Coach Rivera, what went through your mind?
So I wasn't even watching the TV, because I don't like to watch it, because it made me even more nervous. So I was sitting outside. I see my phone ring with a number like that, and I'm just trying to hurry up and answer. And then like the emotions, like I ain't know if I was ready to cry. I just smiled. So I just was smiling, like it was just an unbelievable feeling.
You've been working a long time to get to the point, and then you get that phone call, and I know people, different emotions, like you said, go through. What did you do after you got picked?
I just went in the house, because I was sitting on the back porch. I went in the house, my family was sitting on the sofa watching the draft, and everybody just looking at me like, you on the phone? And I just told them like, I'm going to Washington. And then I just couldn't do nothing but just hug everybody.
There you go. Now, UL, I think I became a young man. I grew, that whole area helped me out tremendously. What did Lafayette, Louisiana do for Percy Butler?
I'm gonna say it taught me like how to come into, cause it's like a party town. So like, it taught me how to control like my time management, and like the support that you get from the fans and all that. Like, it just taught me it just made me a better person.
I know I was looking yesterday, I was asking me how many people from Blackman. I always thought it was like 20-something thousand people. You know, it's 6,000, almost 7,000 people. That's it. And you begin to look at those things. UL had more people on campus than you actually had in Plaquemine. But when you look at these safeties and a lot of them, like you said, I know I talk to a lot of young people. They always talk about Sean Taylor. What is it about safety that makes you want to play it?
I'm gonna say like the part, like you like the quarterback of the defense. And then you really in control of like all the calls, like making sure the corners on the right page, making sure the linebackers on the right page, and sometimes even with the D-line when you blitzing.
Percy Butler and his fellow rookies spent time volunteering at the food bank of Metro DC last week, working to help the organization get meals out to people in need around the DC area. It's a way for our rookies to get to know the community they represent a little better. And still to come, our first ever Commanders draft pick pins a letter to the Washington fan base ahead of his rookie season. We will hear him share his own words after this break.
Hey all, it's Jahan Dotson, and you're watching Command Center.
Glory. It's a word much easier said than earned. Everything they fight for lives and dies here. America's capital. A city committed to service. A home of our heroes. A home to the Commanders. A place that shines unlike any other. All because of them. Glory.
The United States military naval academies have been announced that the FedEx Field will be the host of the 2024 Army-Navy football game presented by USAA on Saturday, December 14th, 2024. This will be the 125th Army-Navy game dating back to 1980 and will be the second time ever FedEx Field has hosted the game, which was also played here in 2011. This past April, Washington made former Penn State wide receiver Jahan Dotson the first ever official draft pick of the Commanders. And so far, during his brief time in D.C., Dotson has impressed his coaches and teammates with his abilities both on and off the field. But Jahan wants his work to be known by more than just the people here in the building.
Dear Commanders family, I remember everything about that night, the night I became a part of this team. Originally, the plan for my draft party was just immediate family, with my mom, my dad, my brother, grandparents, and close cousins. But my dad is very open, so it ended up being way bigger than I had ever imagined. I feel like it was way better that way, because that's kind of how I grew up, with just a big support system. When I moved to Nazareth, they really brought me in and supported me throughout my whole journey, all the way to Penn State. It didn't feel like draft night. It honestly felt like a regular Thursday night. I was pretty much just chilling in my room about an hour before the draft, just playing video games with my friends. But when the draft started and receivers started to be taken, it became more real. I remember sitting in my basement with my best friend watching the Suns and Pelicans game when he said to me, "Bro, I got a feeling you might get called a little earlier." I didn't think anything of it, but then I went outside and saw Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams all get picked back to back to back. And then I thought to myself, I'm the next receiver that's really supposed to get taken. I got the call 4 picks later from Coach Rivera. I felt like all the hard work had honestly flashed right before my eyes. It all happened so fast, I was just really excited for the moment. I would honestly say it's everything that I've ever imagined. Ever since I was a little kid, my dream was to always play in the NFL. I wanted no other job. When I was a little kid, my parents would buy me toy trucks and action figures, but I didn't even want to touch any of it. I didn't even open the boxes. Back then, a lot of people didn't believe in me. They would always say, "You're too small. You would never do this thing." That's why it was good that everyone was there when I got drafted. Those people that were there, they believed in me and were always in my corner. I feel like I do a good job of not looking in the past at things you could have done, because there's a rhyme or reason to why you didn't do it. You can't change the past. You can only change what's in front of you. My motto has always been to focus on the next play. If you mess up on one play, you can make it up on the next one. I've strived to be better every single day, not only on the football field, but also in life in general. I'm always looking forward to the future, not dwelling on the past or making the same mistake twice. It took a while for it to hit me that I had just fulfilled my lifelong dream. From the time that I flew out on the private jet to the team facility, I was trying to be thankful for every moment. It finally happened when they gave me the playbook and I had to start learning all this new terminology. I say it every day, but it almost feels like I'm a freshman in college again. Getting familiar with the new system and then trying to play fast and be comfortable. It's tough, but this is what I was made for. I'm just having fun doing it. I'm always looking forward to the next thing. That's always been part of my character. I'm not too big on self-accomplishments. I'm always trying to be better. If I score a touchdown on one play, I'm trying to score 3 tomorrow. It's just how I'm wired. I'm super competitive, and it's weird because my dad is really outgoing, and he gets me excited about stuff, but I'm always looking ahead. I'm doing everything I said I would do at a young age, but I try not to listen to the outside noise too much, and I never want to become complacent. It's one of my biggest fears. I feel like that makes me work even harder because I want to be better every single day. I have bigger accomplishments and goals in mind, but you can't really focus on things that are going to be at the end of the season. You have to take care of what's coming tomorrow. It sounds cliche, but I want to be the best teammate possible. Any way I can help this team win, I'm willing to do it. I want to be there for my guys, and in my case, that's me being a sponge and learning what I can so I can help someone out. If someone's at the X position, I can be like, yo, I got you for a couple plays. I want you to know that I want to be the best player on the field each and every day. I'm going to put my all on the line for the Commanders each and every day. I love the game of football so much. It's literally my sanctuary. So I feel like every time I'm out there, I'm leaving it all on the line because of my passion for the game and how much I love it. I can't wait for the season to start so I can show you exactly what this game means to me. See you soon, Jahan.
It's what the fans want to hear. That you're going to come to work, you're going to work hard, and hopefully get us into the win column more.
I can dig it.
You can dig it?
And he's come out and done an outstanding job. Really excited to see him in training camp and in the season.
All right, soon enough, training camp will be here, but that's going to do it for this Command Center. For Santana and Logan, I'm Julie. We'll see you next time.